right, folks, and we're back. What is going on with this post-pandemic return of theater, live theater? I'm so happy to have Nancy Levine, who's an actor, comedian, producer of the show Housewives of Secaucus, which is part of your Laugh Out Loud Productions company. This is an exciting time. And before I ask you about you, and before I get into any questions about how you got to play on stage, what is the mindset of your cast and crew walking into live theater post-COVID or almost post-COVID? What are they thinking? How are they feeling? Tell us about that mindset.
Well, everybody's very excited. I mean, we are taking all the precautions. I make the actors pee in a cup. Just kidding. No, I don't make them do that. I do make them get COVID tests every 2 days. So like they're going to have to give their rapid COVID test results this morning by now. It should be by now. So that's one of the protocols we have in place. But everybody's just so excited because we're like one of the first plays back in New York City. So this is a historic time.
Yeah, I mean, that is, it's a little scary, of course, but it's really exciting. It's really a happy moment for New York. What other precautions are you folks taking in terms of, you know, maybe the audience? Are you giving
sure,
like that?
Well, we're doing temperature checks at the door, and everybody has to wear a mask, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. That's it. We're not sticking swabs up anybody's noses when they come in. No, not doing that.
Are you standing there with you know, the syringe ready to give vaccines or none of that?
Yeah, like Dr. Kevorkian. Yeah.
Well, look, now that we got that out of the way, because that's the big question that I think a lot of theater goers that I've been talking to have had. Now that I'm in the theater, now that I've passed all the tests, I'm wearing my mask, I'm sitting there. Tell me about your show, Housewives of Secaucus. Why Secaucus? Tell me how you got that show up on stage. I know that you've had it on stage before.
It's a long story, but I'll make it interesting because that's the only way I know how. It's been 5 years in the making. It was written in 2016 by a man named Sean Patterson, and I was in it. I played Anita Martini. It was more like the Jersey Shore type of a show. The characters were trashy, and Anita Martini was a raging alcoholic. So I was drunk throughout the entire play. Not really drunk, acting drunk. So anyway, so that's how that worked. And then in 2018, Anthony Wilkinson, who wrote the My Big Gay series, saw the play, loved me, but said the script sucked. So I said, Anthony, can you rewrite it for me? And he said, okay. So he rewrote it for me in 2019. And then we did it for another year at Don't Tell Mama and places like that, Broadway Comedy Club. And then in November of 2020, it wasn't even really an epiphany because it was in the back of my head for many years. This should be done in drag. It's so much funnier in drag. So I went over to Anthony and I was nervous, mind you, because this is like really fucking with his play, you know? So, I was like, Anthony, would you mind if I did this in drag? And he gave me his blessing, and I was like, phew. So we did it at the Triad in January of 2020, pre-COVID, and it was a hit. We sold out the place. And I always wanted to bring it to Off Broadway as well. And Anthony has all of these connections. So I was like, how can I get into the St. Luke's? And we were supposed to be there, but then COVID hit. And then St. Luke's is not open right now. So then I called Ed, the owner of the theater. Every month Hi, it's Nancy from Housewives. Remember me? Don't forget, we want to go up. So when is theater opening? Yada, yada. Every month I would call him. And then he finally said, Nancy, it's looking good. I think it's looking positive. So, in his Ed way. So that was that, and then I got the cast together with HDB casting. Got me some great actors, and I have the director. He comes from Virginia. He's fantastic. Hank Fitzgerald Corrali. And that's it. So that's the story. So and it's a great show. It's very amusing and it's quick. It's only in 80 minutes with intermission.
Yeah, and I think as far as we've been seeing on Off Broadway and independent theater and just theater in general, the 90-minute formula really works. You know, that 80-90-minute formula really works. So this cast is a brand new cast, or is it the same cast?
No, we have two of the old actors, but three of them are new. Well, five of them are new. The two understudies are new as well. Started rehearsing last Sunday, and we finished yesterday. So it was 6 rehearsals, and it looks incredible.
Wow. That was going to be my next question, believe it or not. I was going to say, you know, once you got that word from Ed saying it's a go, let's do this. And it's just to not, you know, confuse audiences or potential audiences out there, because you have to see the show. It was a hit, right? So it's still going to be a hit, but it's not at St. Luke's. So let's avoid any confusion with that. It's at the Actors Temple, which is a beautiful space, and it's in the heart of Times Square. So you rehearsed it in 6 days. Is it a musical? Does it have songs or anything? Tell us a little bit about the format.
Yeah, well, I describe it as an interactive lip syncing musical comedy.
Okay.
Because the actors don't actually sing the songs, they lip sync them as drag queens do.
Ah, I see.
So, and that makes it very funny, because it's just, you know, well, you got to see it. You got to see it.
I hope to see it. I think obviously those first, you have a great schedule. You were telling me before we started this video interview that you have Saturday night, a Sunday matinee, and a Sunday night performance. That's 3 performances on the weekend.
Yeah, and I only had to have sex with Ed once to get that, so that's pretty good.
Even for the Sunday matinee?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really great. That was definitely a deal. That was so here we are. I mean, you have a beautiful weekend schedule. What do you anticipate will be the biggest challenge to get people into the theater? Broadway League was saying September is still hopeful. I would have rather heard them say not hopeful, but planned, right?
Yeah.
You know, let's have a plan. Let's not have a hope. Let's have a plan, you know, but all right, that's the way it worked out. And yet Off Broadway is already opening, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So what words would you say to your audiences out there, potential audiences, to encourage them to come you open tonight, all right? Today is May 1st. You open tonight. What do you tell people out there to do to be able to, you know, to encourage them to come to the theater?
Well, just come. I mean, you know, you're dying to get out there. Everybody's been cooped up for over a year. It's like, screw it. It's time. You know, we're going to have the roaring 20s again. I really feel it, you know, because with the vaccine, I mean, I'm double vaccinated. I feel so free now.
Yeah, me too.
You know, like, I mean, I feel safe, and I think people are really itching for entertainment. So I think it's going to be a hit.
Tourism hopefully will start to come back. I think things are beginning to open. Bars are opening, I think, Monday. So that would be what, the 3rd of May. We're looking at, by the middle of May, we're looking at things starting to really come back. I see that airline tickets are already going back up. I see that hotels are already, starting. So I see the roaring 20s. I love that. That's such a good way to put it. When we look at the show, what's it about? I mean, we know it's the songs, the drags, but what's the story about?
Well, it's about a group of housewives from Secaucus, New Jersey, which, by the way, you pronounce it Secaucus, not Secaucus. That's how you could tell the townies from the other people, because long story short, we pronounced it Secaucus once in the original script, and people from Secaucus were there and they corrected us. So anyway.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Learned the hard way.
Yeah.
It's about 5 women from Secaucus, New Jersey. There's Anita Martini and her nemesis is Donatella Diacopa. And the names are hilarious. There's Fessy Facci and Carla Cavatelli. So these funny names, and they get into the situation is they're at a luncheon, and it's a Mad Hatter's luncheon. So a big part of the play is the hats. I got these great hats designed by Shane Walker, who's a professional hat designer, and they have a hat contest. They have Woman of the Year. Somebody's running for mayor. And somebody is sleeping with somebody's husband.
Uh-oh.
And, they all get together at the end, they make up, and that's it.
A lot of fun. Now, you said it was
fun.
You said it was interactive, which I've been to drag shows, and that's what makes it fun when the performer comes out there and interacts with the audience. Because that's the beauty of that reaction, right? When you have this bigger than life drag queen talking to you and you're in the audience, specifically focused on you, that adds tremendously to the comedy. How interactive is it? Like, do they come out into the audience? Do they tell us a little bit about that?
It's not overly interactive. In the beginning, they enter through the audience. So that's always the thrill for the audience.
Always.
The actors, and especially in all that makeup and those hats, larger than life, And then there's a big fight. I forgot to say there's like a cat fight. There's one cat fight. I'm not going to say what happens, but it's and they run through the audience at the end of the cat fight, screaming and yelling, and that's the end of Act 1. They take a picture and they bring up somebody from the audience to be in the picture, and then they put on their face shields to be COVID compliant. So yeah, it's hilarious.
Tell us a bit about you, because I noticed that you're a stand-up comic, you're an actor, you're now producing. How did you get involved in all this? Seems like a lot of fun and a fun career. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I started Laugh Out Loud Productions in 2009. In the heart of the recession, I got laid off from the American Diabetes Association.
Wow.
And I always wanted to start my own business anyway, so I started Laugh Out Loud Productions, and I did interactive luncheon theater shows for 5 years for the senior citizen community. Wow. I had like 200 people in the audience at a time. It was going pretty well, but the overhead was so high, so I finally got out of that. And then I just started using Laugh Out Loud as doing stand-up shows and stuff like that. And then ultimately Housewives. I worked for Affinity Health Plan as an event planner. I also have a podcast called Hot Flash, the podcast, with my co-host Robin Siegel-Lakin, and we interview different people. Excuse me, I forgot to put my phone on vibrate, if you heard that. Anyway, so we interview different, entertainment type people. And then I'm also in the process of writing a sitcom called Hot Flash about 3 women who live in a 1-bedroom apartment in Jersey City of a certain age.
Oh my God.
Just very funny as well. Yes, I am looking for representation. So if anybody's available and wants a middle-aged Jewish broad, I am available.
You are busy. So we can add writer to your many titles because you're writing the sitcom, right?
Yeah, well, I'm not really writing it. Well, I wrote it, but we got a script. We got a script doctor to fix it up. So, yeah.
It sounds like a lot of fun. Tell us what you did during COVID, other than call Ed Gaines every day. We're here. We have this play. How does someone like you, who's obviously very busy, who's working hard to bring, content plays, things like that to the stage, that's a whole year where you're sitting maybe at home. Tell us about that. What were you doing? What were you creating? What was your mindset?
Well, definitely drinking more. I had a lot of COVID happy hour Zoom parties. I created a show called Apocalypse Comedy Now, which was on Facebook for about a year. And then I stopped that because something had to go. Once I knew Housewives was coming, I was like, no, it's too much.
Right.
So I did that. And I actually got my real estate license.
You're like the 10th person who's gotten their real estate license during COVID. I think they're going to be successful. We're going to have this roaring 20s that you said, but it's a good backup plan. This thing, it's definitely a good backup plan.
My mother would have been happy.
Because of the license.
Because of the backup plan, yeah.
The backup plan, yes, of course.
My husband's the backup plan, actually.
Oh, well, that's a good backup plan. It's always good to have that person in your house that you can say, hey, you pay the bills for a while. Hey, listen, these are strange times. So obviously we have to be flexible, right?
Yeah.
What do you hope? Let's say you had this, a genie in a bottle, and the genie in the bottle said, what do you want to do with Housewives of Secaucus? 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, do you see it going, let's say, somewhere else, traveling across the country? What's your dream on that end?
I see it running at the St. Luke's for, a couple of years, and eventually going to different cities like Toronto, San Francisco, Fire Island, places like that, New Orleans maybe, where I think it would be a big hit with the gay community, because most of our target audience, it's very female, but it's also the gay community. We're going to have a lot of very judgmental queens in the audience. So
you've had your rehearsals, you're opening tonight. Have you found moments that are, unexpected, perhaps that you can infuse into the play during this rehearsal period? I mean, it's a fast rehearsal period, but you know how you rehearse and sometimes something happens, you're like, keep it. Have you had those experiences this week, or is it pretty much?
Yes, definitely. One of those experiences was having to do with a wig. I'm not going to say exactly what, because I want people to be surprised. But yeah, that was one experience. And, just some of the ad libs that are coming up, I'd be like, yeah, keep it, stuff like that. So yeah, definitely.
How do you find, you have a casting director, obviously, but how do you find drag queens? That seems like, usually you cast and you're looking for this type, that type, but that seems like a very specific type of casting call. Was it hard to do that? Was it easy? Tell us about that.
Yeah, it was a little bit hard. You'd think in New York City there would be thousands of drag queens, but they're kind of hard to get. The casting director got me about 12 people that I got to choose from, but when you think about it in the scheme of things, that's not a lot of people.
No.
Thank God most of the actors were very talented. Some of them sucked, but the ones that we chose are really, really good. Yeah, so that's that.
Yeah, never pick the sucky ones. Always pick
never pick them. Or the pains in the asses.
All the pains in the asses. There's a few of those. You know, I mean, the ones left in New York City, because a lot of people did bail out. I think they'll start to come back. I know I have friends who left and are now looking to come back because they see things opening. This is, to me, I think this is going to be a very fun play to sort of, you know, launch the return of Off Broadway, help launch the return of Off Broadway.
Well, the Asbury Park Press called it the rebirth of New York City theater. So.
Yeah, and it really is. It really is. I think that's a phenomenal thing. If there's any way that folks can reach out to you and find out about some of the work you're doing, find out more about the play, where can they go to find out this information?
Okay, well, they could go to a few places. They could go to Telecharge. We're on Telecharge. And they could also go to the Housewives of Secaucus.com, the website, which, by the way, we are also running a Kickstarter campaign. So be generous with your gifts.
Exactly.
And we need some people with deep pockets.
Are there any plans moving forward to, you know, do a live stream or to do any kind of virtual add-ons to this production that you can share with us? Or is that something you still haven't, you know, put together?
No.
No. Okay.
We're not doing that. No.
So it's a live thing. Folks, you got to go see this live show. I have been in Times Square. Yes, there's a lot of restaurants that have closed down, but there's a lot that are still open. They're great restaurants. They're booming. I wish you the best of luck with this production. I look forward to seeing it. Cross our fingers, and folks, get out there and support live theater. You're going to be safe. You're going to be fine. Nancy, I look forward to meeting you in person at some point. I'm sick of Zoom.
Are you coming to the show? When are you coming?
To the show. Yeah, I'll talk to the folks there and arrange something. I would love to see the show. It seems like a lot of fun.
Okay, great.
All right. There you go. Take care, Nancy, and thank you very much.
Take care, Roger. Thank you.
Bye-bye.